here this morning. This jailer very life was put up for Clara in a foolish choice of vacation. He knew the consequences. He accepted the consequences, and he chose to be a jailer of hardened criminals. This man wanted to be a jailer of hardened criminals. Of course, you can't get that dedication today. You got some jailers that'll let you out, will give you the key. Go ahead and threaten them. Or slide some money on them. Tell them you got something. That's how the prison system works. They buy their way. Somebody go in there with a lot of money, they got enough money to spread it around. The jailer, the jailer ain't gonna put nothing on the line these days. He sold his soul to the company store. In other words, he knew the consequences of a jailbreak and the law's promises and the penalty that calls for his own life. The jailer, like the drug addict, knew the penalty. He wanted to be a jailer. He wanted to be the keeper of convicts and condemned men. He knew and accepted the dreadful possibility of personal harm. That wasn't so bad, but who was so bad? His commitment to a dangerous occupation. It was the commitment that devalued his life. The life should be committed only to God. Sometimes we get into these occupations and these jobs and we commit to everybody except God. And the Lord is the only one that's going to be able to deliver us and to keep us in these jobs. Because the demands are so high that unless you got the Lord working with you in these jobs, they'll have you compromising everything that you got. You see it every day, don't you, Brother Sandy? Somebody says that I can't get away from working on Sundays. Sundays go Monday to Wednesday, and you don't see them for one Sunday, and then 6 months down the road, you know I work on Sundays. Pray to the Lord of the harvest. He is able. And that shame becomes a sham. We add the E on to sham, and what it is that I'll go next Sunday. And that next Sunday becomes the next Sunday. And then next Sunday becomes the next Sunday. And I become weak, and I become the foe of the enemy to destroy me. He put up his life as collateral because his life was deprived. He thought nothing of gambling with it. He took a chance on a foolish commitment. Commitment for foolish death. Unkeepable promises. That's what we do sometimes. I'm not going to be too long. That's the first point. A, B, and C. The second point is that this man, as we look into the 16th chapter, fell asleep on the job. They don't say why he fell asleep, but he put his confidence in himself. It says that I have no business sleeping on the job where my life is at stake. Maybe he was trying to make all the money. Maybe he had two jobs. I know people these days, Deacon Clemens, that they have a primary job and they have another job. And the other job that they have, they'll go and do stuff on this, and the other job, they'll come back and sleep. Every morning I come in, I see a young man in one of the specializing rooms. He's sleeping. He wouldn't know who came in and when they left, and he's supposed to be the supervisor. I come in at 5:30. He don't wake up till about 7:30 when everybody else comes in. There's a dangerous thing sleeping on the job where my life is put up for collateral. To know God is the only way to know the value he places on my life. They don't place any much value on life these days. Y'all know it. But God places a lot of value. He gave it, breathed life into it, and put a price on it. The price was the blood of his son, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
That's an awful lot of price. This jail understood what was going on. He went to sleep on the job, verse 27. He took a needless risk. He risked his professional tranquility. He picked up the job security and proper standing as an officer of the penal system. Verse 24, he kept watch on, he's supposed to be keeping watch on Satan and his evil do. Go to sleep in the jail today. This man had the audacity to go to sleep. And these days, it's always being watched and keep vigilant eyes open. Over in Gideon, over in Judges, Gideon went to war for the Lord. But he had 30,000 men, and then he cut them down to 10,000. But the last 10,000, he kept. He says that the one that lapped like a dog, that licked the water up and watching, he said, keep them, and all those were but 300. Watch, for the redeeming of time is near. All these things ain't just happening. No, you don't hear me. These things, all these things that's coming to pass, God said that they will come to pass in 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter. He said men will be headed, high-minded, lovers of themselves, more children disobedient, doing everything that they big and bad enough. Time is drawing near.
Right.
I must do, Jesus Christ said that, the work of the one that sent me, because night is surely to come, when no man can work. You better work while it's day. We're like Jonah in a storm. When everything failed, the captain of the ship told him, "O sleeper, arise, call on thy God. If so be that God will think upon us." We are this morning to ask the Lord to think upon us. To think upon us. Do thyself no harm. We are all here. We are sleepwalking, many of us, through the dangerous obligation. The unsaved is sleeping on the job. There's many people that are dying and going to hell every day, and we don't say anything. We're sleeping on the job. Faithless Christians are catnapping in devotion. Backsliders are sleeping, walking in life on the highways and wasting daylight hours on a foolish chance. Listen to the preacher in Proverbs 6 and 9. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When thou rise out of thy sleep. The last but not least, risking all what is dear to us. This man was a husband, he was a father, he had many relatives, he had a lot of things that was dependent on him. This jailer was the head of a household. Very likely he was a married man with children. He risked his domestic tranquility, he risked the job security. Besides risking his life, he risked the turning the criminals loose on a suspecting community. Don't you know that he went to sleep and they got out of there? Let them open up Harris County Jail doors. Let them pop open. You want to see what I'm talking about? Let them pop open. He was a father, he was a mother, he had a father, he had a mother, he had children. He risked suicide. A suicide segment for his family and friends to cope with for the rest of their life. Don't fool yourself. When we hurt ourselves, oh, y'all don't hear me. When we hurt ourselves,